Hey everybody, Pastor Hans here, and wherever you find yourself, maybe you're at home watching on a device, you're in a car, listening, maybe you're with one of our partner churches like our friends at Westmo and out in Ashley, North Dakota, or even out in Wisconsin. Hey, it's an honor to be with you. Today, I'm going to start by taking a little different approach, because here's what I know. There are some of you who are listening, who are watching today, and you're going through a season. Right? You're going through a difficult season. Maybe for you, it's your marriage. You don't know exactly what's going on, but something's off. Or maybe it has to do with your career. You thought this would be the job, but what you're finding out is you're going nowhere in this job. Or maybe you're retired and you hate to admit this, but you miss going to work. You miss how it made you feel important. It gave you purpose in life. You're going through one of those seasons. Maybe for you, it's something going on with your kids. You know there's something going on, but they're not saying anything. Or maybe recently you found out you couldn't have kids. Or maybe you're experiencing depression right now, and you've never experienced it before, and you find yourself saying, this shouldn't happen to people like me with the privileges I have with the family. It shouldn't be happening. And it is just all-consuming. And in seasons like that, what makes it extra hard is that you look around, maybe you're sitting in church or you're sitting with your family, and you look at these other people in your life, and it seems like everything is kind of picture perfect in their life, doesn't it? It seems like they got a plan and everything's moving in the right direction. And if you're a follower of Jesus, if you're a Christian, during those seasons, we say things that are kind of weird, right? We look at people like that and we go, well, God is blessing them. So why isn't God blessing me? And of course, you wouldn't say this, and so I'm going to say it for you. You look at them and you go, I'm a way better person than they are, right? Why would God bless them and not me? And again, you wouldn't say this, and so I'll say it for you. You find yourself saying their prayers, the things that keep them up at night, their prayers are small, their prayers are dumb, their prayers are stupid. Their prayers look like this. I can't find the keys to my brand new Lexus, and I'm standing here in the foyer of my 20,000 square foot brand new home on the lake. God, where are my car keys? And you find yourself saying, that is such a small prayer. God, you know what's going on in my life. My wife just got diagnosed with brain cancer. My daughter, she lost a child. God, you know what's going on in my life. Those prayers are small. My prayers are big. My prayers are real. And again, here's what complicates that even more, is that if you're a follower of Jesus, you likely have well-meaning Christians in your life who when you find yourself going through these seasons, they want to say things that sort of make excuses for God. It's sort of like they're not comfortable with what's going on in your life, the tension it's created in your life. It doesn't fit into their understanding of God, and so they want to kind of keep it at a distance. They want to make sense out of it when it just doesn't make sense. And so what do? They provide you with sort of Hallmark God, if you will. You know what I'm saying when I say Hallmark God? You've likely had this happen. You were going through a season, and they said, well, everything happens for a reason. You don't understand it. Everything happens for a reason. Good luck with that. You take care of that, and we'll see you later, right? Or maybe they say, hey, it's all part of God's plan. You don't understand. You'll figure it out, I'm sure. Good luck with that. Or how about this? Maybe God's trying to teach you something. They sort of suggest that you're doing something wrong, like if your faith was strong enough, right? Or they say this, you've just got to have faith. If you had more faith, if you had better faith, if you had a stronger faith, well, this wouldn't happen. So take care of that. Good luck. We'll see you later. And when people say things like that, it always feels as though what they're saying is something like this. Don't disturb my God-in-the-box faith with your real life circumstances. It's like they're saying, hey, just so you know, I've got God all figured out in my little box. This is my understanding of God. I do this for God. God does this for me. I do this for God. God does this for me. And it's going well for me. It's obviously not going well for you. And I don't quite understand it. It's not fitting in my box. It's not fitting in the equations. I don't know what's going on. There's probably something that you've done, and I don't want to hear about it. But here's the deal. You do you, I'll do me. You do you, I'll do me. Now, here's what I suspect. There are some of you who are sort of leaning in right now, and maybe you're a guest, maybe somebody brought you and you didn't have the heart to tell them that, well, you're not really into faith. You walked away from faith a long time ago. And I'm going to guess that maybe one of the reasons you walked away from faith is that you ran into way too many Christians who were sort of Hallmark God Christians. Your family, your mom got sick, your sister was abused, you went through a difficult season. And you had way too many Christians in your life who came to you and they offered you Hallmark God. It was like they were afraid to step into the unresolved, the sort of messy situation your family was in. And they just offered you one Christian one-liner after another. And you found yourself saying, if that's what Christianity is, if that's what the church is, I don't want anything to do with it. And if that's you, here's what I want to say. I can't blame you. And I'm sorry. You deserved better than that. And here's what you need to know. We have a God who is better than that. Gang, today we are in the second week of a series which we have called Curveball. And we're walking through this series because it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you've been through, how much you make, inevitably in life, life is going to throw you a curveball. And this series is so important because if you grew up around faith, many of us have this mistaken understanding that if I just do the right things, if I just order my life in a certain way, if I do everything God asks of me, well then every day when I step up to the plate of life, I'm going to be batting 1,000. Right? Every day, home runs every day, clear sailing, certainty, clarity, confidence. That's what my life is going to look like. Now, if you've been around the church and been a person of faith for even a hot minute, you know you're not so certain about this. You see, faith isn't about certainty. It isn't about batting home runs. What we hope you hear in this series is that faith is all about knowing that we have a God who's with us when the curveballs inevitably come. It's all about knowing God is with us when the curveballs inevitably come. Now, to get into this, to help us understand this, I want to ask you, have you ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Admiral Jim Stockdale? Anybody heard of him? He ran for president back in the 90s, but he's most famous for the fact that he was a POW during the Vietnam War. He was the highest ranking naval official to be in the prison camp known as the Hanoi Hilton. He was there for 8 years. And while Jim Collins, someone maybe you know who wrote the book Good to Great, while he was getting ready to write that book, part of the process was he interviewed Jim Stockdale. And when he interviewed him, he asked him, how did you do it? How did you survive? And Stockdale said this. He said, I never lost faith in the end of the story. Isn't that powerful? I never lost faith in the end of the story. And then Collins said, well, explain that a little bit more. And so he said, I never doubted not only that I would get out, but also that I would prevail in the end and turn the experience into the defining event of my life, which, in retrospect, I would not trade. And then Collins paused for a minute, and he looked at Stockdale, and he said, You know, there were some that didn't make it out. Who were they? Can you name who they are? And he said, oh, that's easy. It was the optimists. And of course, Collins went, optimists? What are you talking about? And Stockdale said this. They were the ones who said, We're going to be out by Christmas, and Christmas would come and Christmas would go. They'd say, we're going to be out by Easter, and Easter would come and Easter would go, and then Christmas, and then it would be Christmas again. And then he paused and he said, those men died of a broken heart. And then Stockdale leaned into Collins and he said, this is the point. This is the life lesson that I learned in all of this. He said, you must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose. He said, you must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they may be. Now let that sink in for a minute. He said, you must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they may be. What Stockdale says here becomes the basis of what business people know as the Stockdale paradox. You know what a paradox is. It's when you name two things that seem contradictory, but actually when held side by side, they name a truth. And what Stockdale suggested, what the Stockdale paradox says, is that you must never lose hope. You must always be looking forward, always making plans, always innovating. But at the same time, you must hold right next to that this sense of we are never going to ignore the brutal facts of reality. This became a very popular sort of business paradox. We never lose hope. We never stop looking forward, but we never ignore the brutal facts of reality. Now, here's why I go on and on about this. Gang, the best versions of Christianity, hold on to a very similar paradox. As followers of Jesus, the best versions of Christianity, we say, we have a future hope. We know the end of the story. We know where this is all going. We have a God who promises that nothing will separate us from God's love, not life, not death, not anything at all. We have a future hope. But at the same time, we hold on to a brutal fact, a brutal reality of life. The problem is, for most Christians, we are so enamored, we focus so much on that future hope that we sort of sweep away, we ignore away, we pray away, we obey away the brutal realities of life here on planet Earth. You see, there is this brutal reality of life that far too often followers of Jesus have this tendency to ignore. And when we do, when life gets hard, when we go through those difficult seasons, it makes faith almost impossible. And so many walk away from faith. As followers of Jesus, we hold on the one hand that we have a future hope, but at the same time, we acknowledge that life is just not fair. We live in a world where life is unfair. To put it another way, there are no equations when it comes to God. That if I simply do this, then God will do this. There are no equations. And because we live on a planet with 8 billion people, life is unpredictable. You see, the best version of the Christian faith holds on to these two realities. That we have a future, a hope that we are confident in, but at the same time, we are not blind-eyed to. We do not shy away from the fact that life here on planet Earth, it is unfair, and that there are no equations with God, that life is unpredictable. Now, we see this paradox play out so clearly in the life of a guy by the name of Job. You say Job, right? Job, in his life, he experienced one big old curveball that he would never, ever forget. In fact, Job, in the blink of an eye, in one day, he lost all of his wealth. He lost all of his employees. He lost everything that was important to him, even his children, in one day. And not that long after, it says he lost his health as well. The story says he was afflicted with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. Then Job took a piece of broken pottery and scraped himself with it as he sat, say this with me, sat among the ashes. Now, if you ask me, this is kind of gross, pottery, scraping his sores. Probably not a sort of health and beauty TikTok influencer who's suggesting that. But the story goes on to say that because, of course, Job was going through this difficult situation, there needed to be some people who would bring commentary on it, of course. And so his friends show up. And at first, his friends do the right thing. They do the exact right thing. It says, then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. Say this with me. No one said a word to him. Say that again. No one said a word to him because they saw how great his suffering was. Honestly, that's the most spiritual thing any of his friends could have possibly done. But of course, they couldn't hold back. They had to say something eventually, and because they couldn't make sense of his pain, because it didn't fit into their equation of who God is, because they were not comfortable with that, they went back to their pool of Hallmark God platitudes. They said the same thing you and I hear often. They said things like, there must be a reason, Job. They said, you probably did something wrong. Everything happens for a reason, Job. God wouldn't allow this unless you deserved it. Huh? Sound familiar? But here's the thing that's interesting. If you follow Job around, what you find is the way that he responds. He doesn't sort of pretend that everything's okay or that these equations that his friends suggest are real. He just cries out. He just names how crummy the situation is. He even blames God. He's yelling at God. He says things like this, God, where are you? God, why is this happening to me? This doesn't make sense. This isn't fair. And what's fascinating is God doesn't reprimand Job. In fact, the story makes it clear God is on Job's side. God doesn't reprimand Job. In fact, he reprimands his friends who kind of keep the situation at a distance with their Hallmark God sort of platitudes, the friends who have that equation for who God is and keep God in this nice little box. You see, here's what I love about Job. For Job, real faith is not pretending the brutal facts of life don't exist. For Job, real faith means bringing the brutal facts to God. Now, many of us, we grew up with an understanding of faith and of God that you don't question things. You don't wrestle with it. You don't argue about it. You just accept it. It's how it is. And here's where it's remarkable. If you actually read the story of the greatest characters in the Bible, you find all of them question God. David questioned God. Jeremiah questioned God. The disciples, Mary and Joseph, questioned God. Even Jesus questions God. When he's in his greatest moment of pain, the most difficult season in his life here on earth, he turns to God and says, my God, say this with me, why have you forsaken me? You see, gang, the best versions of the Christian faith, they hold in the one hand that we have a future hope that is certain, but it's wide-eyed to the reality that life on planet Earth is unfair, that there are no equations, that it is unpredictable. And so here's my prayer for you. Here's my prayer for the church, for our churches, that we would become known as people who are not Hallmark God sort of people. We're not the sort of people when others are in pain that we offer those Christian one-liners, those Christian platitudes. Rather, we're people who are willing to sit in the ashes with people as they go through those difficult seasons. And when we feel like we have to say something, that rather than using those Christian one-liners, we'd say things like this. I don't know why this happened. And I don't have an explanation, but here's what I promise. But you don't have to carry this alone. Gang, today I know there are some of you listening and you're going through a season in your marriage, season in your career, season with your kids. Maybe it's a season of depression and you've been praying about it earnestly, and it doesn't feel like God has answered your prayers. And so you feel like, is my faith failing? Here's what you need to know. You are not failing at faith. In fact, I want to suggest that you're crying out to God. Your questions are delving you deeper into faith than you might even understand. You see, if you get nothing else out of this today, I hope you hear this, that faith, real faith, is simply knowing that God is with us when those curveballs inevitably come.
Why are you striving these days? Why are you trying to earn grace? Why are you crying? Let me lift up your face. Just don't turn away. Why are you looking for love? Why are you still searching as if I'm not enough? To where will you go, child? Tell me, where will you run? To where will you run? 'Cause I'll be by your side wherever you fall in the dead of night. Whenever you call, and please don't bite these hands that are holding you. And my hands are holding you. Look at these hands at my side. They swallowed the grave on that night when I drank the world's sin so I could carry you in and give you life. I wanna give you life. 'Cause I'll be by your side wherever you fall in the dead of night. Whenever you call, and please don't bite these hands that are holding you. My hands are holding you here at my side wherever you fall in the dead of night. Whenever you call, and please don't bite these hands that are holding you. My hands are holding you. 'Cause I love you, and I want you to know that I love you, and I'll never let you go. 'Cause I'll be by your side wherever you fall in the dead of night. Whenever you call, and please don't fight these hands that are holding you. My hands are holding you here at my side wherever you fall in the dead of night. Whenever you call, and please don't fight these hands that are holding you. My hands are holding you here at my this side, my hands are holding you.
As we close our time together, I want to invite you to join me as together we pray the prayer our Lord taught us. Together we pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Gang, thanks so much for being with us today. If this is your first time with us, we would love for you to take a next step, a little baby next step. We'd love for you to head out to our website. There, hit the button that says sign up for emails. It's the easiest way that we could get connected with you, and we would love to get connected with you. We'll shoot you out a note every Friday that shares all the ways that you can get involved here at Calvary, and it's just an easy way for you to take a next step. We'd love for you to do that. Before you go today, I want to introduce you to two of my great friends, Heather and Otto Good, who are going to share this week's Calvary Top 3.
Hi Calvary, my name is Heather.
And I'm Otto, and we're so glad to have you here today. Our family has been connected to Calvary since I was 2, about 13 years ago.
Otto is our oldest. He just finished 9th grade, and I work at Calvary Prep Academy, Alexandria's public charter high school. But I'm also on Calvary's staff as the coordinator of Elevate, our middle school program.
So my mom pretty much knows every middle schooler in the church.
That's right. Aiden, Logan, I'm watching you.
She's kind of crazy.
I'm not crazy.
Yes,
I
you are.
just really love middle schoolers. They're in a super impressionable age, and if I can be one more caring adult in their corner, carrying out Calvary's mission, I am in.
Calvary's mission is to lead all people in a lifelong faith in Jesus Christ. And today's top 3 is all about the ways that you can be part of that this summer.
Whether it's marking a milestone, rolling up your sleeves, or showing up for kids, there is something here for everyone.
As always, head to calvaryalec.org and click the top 3 button for all the details. Number 1 is baptism.
Baptism is one of the many moments that bring us together as a church family. It's a public acknowledgement that faith was never meant to be lived alone. When we celebrate baptism at Calvary, we're naming God's promises, and we're making a promise too, as families and as a church, to walk alongside one another.
Baptism is a pretty big deal at Calvary, whether you're celebrating it with babies, kids, or adults.
And summer is a fabulous time to celebrate a baptism. We offer baptism services throughout the summer, including something really special in August.
A baptism service in the lake, it's really cool.
If baptism is something that you've been thinking about, take the leap this summer. Visit calvaryalex.org and click the top 3 button to learn more about taking the next step.
Number 2, volunteers. My mom can't say enough about her Elevate volunteers. Wednesday nights would be nothing without all of the volunteers showing up.
It's true. We have the most amazing volunteer small group leaders. They show up for our students week after week to talk about life and God. If you're looking for a way to make a difference this summer, Calvary has some incredible ways that you can get involved and volunteer your time. For example, Calvary at the Lake takes a small army: greeters, setup crews, tech teams, parking attendants, and even some site work out at Luther Crest throughout the summer.
If your ideal Sunday involves a lake, this is pretty much the perfect volunteer gig.
And in June, Calvary is hosting a Feed My Starving Children mobile packing event. Kids 5 and up can help, and the goal is to pack more than 100,000 bags of food for kids around the world.
That number is kind of hard to wrap your head around, in a really good way.
One form gives you all of the options. Head to our website and sign up today.
And number 3, Vacation Bible School.
I have seen amazing transformations happen at VBS. Kindergartners who walk in all nervous on Monday but leave on Thursday laughing and dancing with new friends, or middle school students who step up to be amazing leaders and buddies for the preschool-aged kids. Students of all ages learning about Jesus, meeting new people, and feeling like they belong somewhere. It's so beautiful to watch.
I went to VBS when I was little, and I still remember meeting Bailey, the cool teen VBS volunteer that became my favorite babysitter for many years. The people who you meet, the music, the energy, the chaos, all of it is the best. And it's really loud and really wild, but it's really just so much fun.
And now
I'm helping lead it, which is also really cool.
Yeah, now Otto gets to be the cool teen volunteer that will make a difference for some little tyke. And that is the whole point, making a difference even in just one kid's life. Over 400 kids come through VBS every summer, and it takes an enormous team to make it happen. Volunteer roles are available every day that week, July 27th through the 30th, or even in the weeks leading up to it if you'd rather help with prep.
Anytime you're able to give makes a huge difference.
Well, thanks for being here today, Calvary.
Whether you're marking a milestone, serving at the lake, packing meals, or having fun with kids at VBS, there's a place for you at Calvary this summer.
We would love to see you engaging with us somewhere this summer. Thanks, and have a great week.
Thank you, Heather and Otto. As we close our time together today, we pause in the way that we always pause. We pause to give thanks for all the blessings in our life, but we also pause to give you a moment to give back. You need to know something about the Calvary community. This is one of the most generous communities I've ever had a privilege to be a part of. At Calvary, we believe that generosity, as followers of Jesus, it's just what we do. And so I invite you to make your gifts, your offerings at this time. You can make them in any of the ways on the screen. The easiest way is to head to our website, calvaryalec.org, hit the button that says Give, and there you can sign up for a one-time, or I'd love for you to consider making a reoccurring gift so you can be generous even when you can't be with us. Another way to make your gift is with that app on your phone, Venmo. You can write a check, drop it in the mail to the address on the screen, or if you're not quite certain how to make your gift, or maybe you're in a season where you want to make a special gift, just give us a call in the church office. We'd love to connect with you. Folks, thanks for being with us. Have a great week.